Okay, so today we're going to be reviewing the parts of an introduction for a literary analysis essay, but really any essay that you write. So I wanted to give you guys a little acronym to hopefully help you remember the three main parts that you always want to include when you're writing an introduction. So that acronym that I want you to remember is HIT. HIT. So you want to try to make sure that your introduction is a hit. So if you can remember HIT, you'll remember the three main parts of your introduction. So who can remind us and refresh our memory? What does the H stand for when we're writing that introduction? Yes, Zach.
To hook your reader.
Hook your reader, exactly. We want to hook our reader in that very first line of our essay. Now, remember, when you're writing an essay, the hook strategies that you use are going to be a little bit different than the strategies that you would use when you're writing a narrative. Who could share one of those strategies with us? What is one way that you could hook your reader? May. You could ask a question. A question is a great way to get started. And when we wrote our first literary analysis on Gift of the Magi, we talked about challenging ourselves by making that question a magic 3. So maybe instead of just asking one question, you're going to start off by asking 3 questions to really hook your reader in. What's another strategy that we could use to hook our reader? Grady.
Start with the conflict.
When you say start with the conflict, what do you mean?
Like you say or something, say like before you start all of this, if there's a problem, they could say oh no, something happens.
Well, that sounds to me like an awesome strategy if you're writing a narrative, but I don't know that that's something we would use when we're writing something more informational like a literary analysis essay, but thank you so much for trying. Another strategy, Grace. You could use a quote, either a quote from the text or one of the texts, or maybe there's a quote, a song lyric, something you've heard of that relates to the theme or topic. So using a quote would be a great way to start off a literary analysis essay. What's another strategy that we could use? Mike.
You could set the scene.
You could set the scene for your reader, exactly. So maybe in this case, we're talking a little bit about birthdays. Or maybe we're setting the scene by using that imagine statement, which a lot of us tried out with our first literary analysis essay. So the very first thing that you want to make sure you do is hook your reader. Here's a question. Do you think your hook should only be one sentence? What do you think? Brianna? No, it could be one sentence, but it could definitely be a few sentences if you're going to set the scene for your reader or use that magic 3. So don't limit yourself. Don't think that it's only one sentence. Okay, the next step, our I. We're going to introduce our reader to the text that we're writing about and the topic that we're writing about, and we'll also want to include our author's names. So we're going to introduce the texts, the title, and the topic. So what is our big topic that we're writing about for this literary analysis essay? Mike?
Growing up.
Growing up. So you're going to want to introduce that idea in some way. Maybe you're going to give the central idea of both texts. And then our final step of our introduction, it's going to be our thesis or claim. Yesterday, I believe you all wrote a theme statement related to both of the stories. So that's really going to be your thesis or claim. You're also going to want to include the elements that you're writing about. So maybe you chose characters and tone. So you might want to say something like the tone and characters contribute to the theme of such and such. So remember, when you're writing an introduction, you want to make sure your introduction is a hit by including a hook, introducing the text, authors, and topic, and your thesis or claim.